Hi, welcome back. I've got another unboxing. This one here is another Combat Patrol, and it's the Aeldari, the Eldar. So this is an army I've played for many, many years, and I just haven't been using them over the last about 5 years. First off, I didn't like them in 8th edition. I was having a lot of fun with my guard, and I just sort of drifted away from these guys quite a bit. And then in 9th edition, I just, as I've said many times, I didn't play that often. So by the time I started playing again around January of this year, I really just didn't have time to focus on a second army. I had my guard, I had one codex, and that's what I played. Especially since I knew 10th edition was coming, I really didn't want to buy another book. So the reason I bought this is simply because I happened to win a little $80 jackpot, and when I opened up a pack of Lord of the Rings Magic cards, and even though I don't really play Magic anymore, I still occasionally buy a pack because I do like to, look at the art. And I happened to get a foil One Ring, and yeah, I got $80 for it in store credit, because I just wanted to make a quick sale. I knew it was going to go into a box and get forgotten about. And yeah, the store had this on hand. I looked around at their other options, and I just sort of said, you know what? I've been looking at this. I want those bikes. I want the new Guardians to take a look at them. And here we are. So this box set has 19 miniatures. The Combat Patrols are all over the place. You have some that are like, I feel like there's like some that are like 10, and some that are like 40. It really depends what the army is. Like the World Eaters, for example, had 31, I think, which is, to my mind, surprising because they shouldn't be like a horde army. But I feel like in their Combat Patrol, they were sort of treated that way. But then these guys here are sort of right in the middle, where I think is the sweet spot. I think I would have preferred to see a Falcon in here over the Wraith Lord, but that's only because I think I have enough Wraith Lords. I think a lot of people do because of box sets over the years. But I mean, that's really the only thing I could say is a negative to this, and even that's a very minor one. So you get 10 Guardians. These are the newer sculpts. They've been out for a year or two, I think a year. Same with the Jetbikes. You get 6 of those, so 2 boxes worth. And then you get a new Farseer. He's plastic, unlike the old metals and resins that we've had. And then you get the Wraith Lord I mentioned. So everything in here, I believe, came out last year. Maybe it was the year before, except for the Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord is a few years old. I am pretty sure this guy came out in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and he still stands up. It's a great model. We'll take a closer look at him, but you will notice this box set's actually a really good example of seeing the difference in sprue quality from like now versus what we had 10 plus years ago. The Wraith Lord really sort of highlights that. Anyways, yeah, I really wanted some of these. I've been looking to get back at my Eldar, and I needed new bikes. I have the old ones, don't really care for them in comparison. This is one of the few cases where I've seen a new model where I'm just like, yeah, I want to replace these. The last time that happened was, I think, my Skaven. For Warhammer Fantasy, I replaced all my 6th edition plastics with the 8th edition plastics because they were just so much better. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to flip this over. Sorry about the weird layout here. I just brought this desk down to add to my workspace to give me more spots with flat surfaces that aren't just my big computer desk, because it's getting dirty in some spots and I'm going to have to wash it down. But anyways, on the back here, we just get sort of a breakdown of what's in here. You get the image of these, the Jetbikes. And that's their actual size. It says 1:1. You get 2 of those, 2 times 3. You get the Farseer, the Wraith Lord. This is just an alternative image of what he could look like. And then you get the Guardians, which are either Guardian Defenders or Storm Guardians. That's another big thing about this kit. Storm Guardians, when I was younger, I think there might have been a box set at one point. But what I do remember is a blister pack of upgrade pieces that you bought and then you added to a Guardian box. And I think you would get enough for 8 guys. And the Guardian boxes back then had 16 models. So, and they were the exact same Guardians like that these guys replaced. Those Guardians were around from like 98 ish right up till around 2021, 2022. They had a very, very long run. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about them as well. Now, I'm going to pull this out of the way. And I'm going to bring over... Just going to close this thing. It's just what I used for propping. So, first off, you get a sheet of transfers. It says that it's from 2022, so I guess this was done last year. But it really just looks like the same transfers that I'm used to. And yeah, it's Eldar stuff. I guess, you know, they don't change, so that's nice. This will just join the rest of mine. I'll pick out a few here and there. I need some Eandon ones, and I'll never use up all the ones that are on here, so it'll join my stack of transfers. Next is the Farseer. So he is plastic. He's got a molded base, and just, yeah, he's really nice. Farseers are very cool models. They always have been in my mind. And I like, you know, the way they've picked out his details. I love the big, I don't know, plumes? Mohawks? It wouldn't be a mohawk. It's like a upside down mullet of wraithbone on the back of his helmet. And, yeah, I like that. I like the rune armor. It's called rune armor. Yeah, I mean, everything's great. The only thing I have an issue with on this, if there was one thing to pick out and just be nitpicky about, this only comes with a singing spear. It doesn't have the witchblade, so that option, I don't know where you would get that. It is a thing you can do, so I guess it's just a case of if you own a Farseer with a witchblade, you're fine. But I don't know where you would get one now. I mean, I'm looking at this again to make sure I'm not crazy or blind. There is no witchblade on there. I guess I probably could take something off of one of the Guardian sprues, but probably not something I'll do. Anyways, next we have 6 of these. This is one bike. You get all the parts you need on here. So you have your rider is just kind of a bunch of pieces all over the place, I guess, now they look at him. There's his legs, his body, head, arms. And yeah, you just get a bunch of stuff here. Very sleek design. I really, really, really like these. I think when Dark Eldar got redone like 10 years ago, I was quite jealous of their Jetbikes because they were so nice. And even though the original Dark Eldar Jetbikes were kind of, you know, definitely an unacquired taste, or, you know, one that not everybody was going to like. I get that. I always felt that they were still pretty cool too. So when they got updated, I really thought, you know, okay, here comes my my Guardian Jetbikes, my Wind Riders. And then it never happened because the Eldar just don't get updates. It's very rare. And, you know, I'm still sort of shocked that these guys have been out for like a year. Actually, I guess, again, if there was one thing to complain about, because there's only one sprue, and just one second, I'm going to grab another one. I think they're all exactly the same. I just want to see the torsos. Because Eldar are one of the few factions that have male and female figures. I just checked the others. The torsos are all the same. So this is a male Eldar torso, for obvious reasons. Unless, again, I should probably just take a quick peek over here to see if anything has changed. I mean, I guess that's my due diligence didn't... No, they definitely are still female on the Guardian squad. So yeah, they're all male riders. I think that's a little disappointing, just because lore-wise, I like having the females mixed in. You know, it's just how all my Eldar army looks. It is a mix of male and female figures. other than a couple of units that I believe are single gender, like Banshees. And, you know, it's not a huge thing, but I guess it seems like a step backwards to only have the one chest sculpt on here. And again, that's a fairly minor one, although I guess some people might be bothered by that a lot more than I am. I'm just sort of, a little disappointed. I thought maybe we'd maintain our mixed gender army design. But yeah, the Jetbikes they're awesome. They're very sweet looking. Oh, almost knocked my camera over. So next up are the Guardians. I'm going to start with this sprue just because it's smaller. This is the weapons platform, or the Serpents something. The Guardian Defenders get a weapons platform. It hovers around them. It's an extra model that has either like a cannon or a machine gun or rocket, whatever, whatever weapon from down here you pick. And it just sort of hovers next to them and, shoots. That's what it does. The Storm Guardians, they get something different. Instead of a gun, they get a shield. So they all have a 5+ invulnerable save. That's really cool. Guardians are not super durable. They're not like, pushovers, but they're, essentially, if you know Tau stats, they're Tau stats. They're toughness 3 with a 4+ save. Having that 5+ invul, it does make them a little harder to shift. If you put them into a position where they become a big target, knowing that you can fall back on a 5+ invul on a very cheap basic unit that you could technically spam 6 of due to battle line, that's pretty awesome. And it all looks really nice. I mean, it's bigger than the old stuff. I mean, that's actually the other thing about this new Guardian stuff and Jetbikes. It's just the old stuff, but bigger and sleeker. It looks like Eldar stuff. It's not like some armies where, like, you look at the Cadians, and the Cadians thankfully do look basically the same. But at the same time, like, it stands out because they're that much better than the old plastic Cadians. Whereas these guys here, I've seen enough pictures to know that other than height, unless you get really close, you're not going to see a huge difference. You're going to look at both units, and they look essentially identical, except for, again, better design on the new ones, but not because they are just leaps and bounds ahead of them. They just, again, they refined a classic look. So on this sprue, you also get a bunch of swords and some like grenades. Nothing else really strikes out at me. Yeah, I think there was a torso on there by the looks of it. Yeah, so you get a bunch of weapons, some legs on here, but mainly it's the swords. The Storm Guardians, they get close combat weapons, whereas Guardian Defenders get rifles. So the Storm Guardians also actually don't just get swords, they also get meltaguns. I'm losing all my words tonight. They get meltaguns, which are called fusion guns for the Eldar, and they get flamers. So they get 2 flamers, 2 meltas, 2 power swords, and the rest have chain swords. And yeah, it's a really great unit with that 5+ invul. They move up fast. I think they might even have scout. Yeah, I like that unit a lot. So I'm excited to build one of those. I already have a couple of units of Guardian, Storm Guardian. Guardian Defenders. I'm losing, like I said, my mind tonight. Cannot keep track of them. I guess because they're essentially the same name. I just keep getting them backwards and mixing them up with Dire Avengers too. So yeah, it's a great sprue. And what's also nice about this is how neat and organized everything is. As you saw, the swords were all together, and the guns are all together, the bodies are all together, the heads are all together, the torso, and it just goes on and on and on. Everything's all together. It might not be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in one corner like some of the really nice sprues have. Meaning you don't even need to really check the book to see what pieces you need. But even though I have to, take a look at this and, you know, be sort of careful. Not really. I still know that, you know, all the bodies are here, so I don't have to go looking all over the place. Some of the sprues that they put out are just a mess, and trying to find the parts that you need, I get very frustrated. And I don't like that. I mean, I do this to relax, and when I'm looking for a small part and it's buried in a sea of gray and it's all over the place and there's no order, there's no reasoning behind how they laid it out, it does bother me. So this is really nice to see. And I'm going to set this down right here because I want to keep this for just a moment. This is the Wraith Lord. And immediately you can just see that this is an old kit. It is... Does it say on here? It probably says on here somewhere. 2006. Yep, 2006 is when this came out. And this was considered a really nice piece when it came out. Again, the model itself is still very good. I think really it is the you know, the father, the mother, whatever, of the modern Wraith units. Everything that we get from the Wraith Guard up to the Wraith Knights, it all comes from this one kit that really took the old Wraith units and brought them into the modern setting and the modern design philosophy. And it's a great model, but you can just see how much wasted space, how much wasted potential these sprues have. This could all be condensed into one half sprue like this. And seeing so much blank space after seeing all those other beautifully packed sprues is sort of disappointing. That's the other issue I have with this being in here. I think the other problem is that even a Falcon is going to look bad just because of how old the Falcon also is. It's also 3rd edition, or 2nd. I think basically what I'm getting at is that it's kind of from a different era, even though it's a great unit, even though it's a great model. It doesn't quite fit the box in terms of what was being offered here. I think something else could have gone in there, whether it was another box of Guardians. That would have been nice. A really good way to bulk up your Guardians would be great. You can always use more Guardians, especially when that box came out and you could still take units of 20. Whereas this here, there was always sort of a limit to these things. And yeah, overall, again, you know, I'm not going to go too deep on this one. This is an old model, and there's lots of good reviews of this kit. But yeah, I think this is the one miss in the box. I stand by that. I'm kind of stuck on that right now. I do think another thing of Guardians. I think that's what I would have picked. You know, 2 things of bikes, 2 things of Guardians, and a Farseer. I think that would have been a killer start collecting. Or Combat Patrol box. But, you know, it is what it is. It's still a great piece for new players. And I think it's probably a really great option to have in the Combat Patrol missions. So anyways, I'm going to stop there. I want to maybe build a jet bike before I go to bed, just because they look cool. And yeah, I'm going to let you go here. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any thoughts or comments, leave them down below, and have a great day.